Well, guys, Clance's favorite job today, building fence. But really, it ain't been too bad, has it? We're working in the shade right now, and we're using a post driver instead of having to dig holes by hand. And I know a lot of you are going to say, hey, that driving that post ain't no good, but that's all we've really ever done around here. I haven't concreted any pipe in a long time, and it's all still standing here. So, but today, let me show you what we kind of got going on. Clance, you just hold that post. So this right here leads down to a little old creek right there, and it's a water gap, and it washed away in the spring, and we're just now getting to it. So we've kind of got our steel posts and stuff. We hadn't gone through and really straightened them yet. We got to do a little bit of pulling on them, but we're going to put this net wire fence back up here. We're going to pull it across there, and then right here these steers have pushed on this fence since it's been loose so much that we're going to drive some more posts in here. And then we're going to come back with some more of this continuous fence and put along the back side of the steer pen here to keep them from pushing on it. One thing, we've got a little bit of an issue here is this old tree right here. He's growed into the fence line right here, and we didn't want to cut it down because it's got a good bit of shade from me and the neighbor. So we're just going to have to make a little bulge around it to make it work. So that's what Clance and I are doing. So we've already drove a few posts with this post driver. This is a blue diamond vibrant, you know, it runs off your hydraulics. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the first time I saw this thing, I was like, that thing ain't going to work, but it's been driving good, hasn't it?
Yep.
Right down here where this little kicker that we built is, there's a piece of pipe we drove down there. It's about 7 foot in the ground. We had an 8-foot stick of pipe, and we drove it down in the ground, left a foot sticking out for the kicker. And then the other one we drove about 5.5. So it's doing a good job. I'm going to set y'all up here on the fence and let y'all watch. So what Clance is going to do, maybe this will sit still right here, is he's going to be in charge of leveling the post. I'm going to step back here and look down it one more time, even though I told him I trusted him, just to kind of see. Yeah, it'll be fine. He's got a level in his pocket, and he's going to put that level on it as we get started. Now, it's going to be a little tough because we've got to get up to the top of this post, and we got these tree limbs and everything. But one good thing about our track loader is most all of the housing, everything around that could get broke on a limb is pretty well covered. So let's give it a try. Let y'all watch the way this baby drives. Oh. Grab your post. All right. Huh? I can't see that wire on those legs when it's down below my eye level, okay? I'm watching up here to make sure I don't break a hydraulic line.
That's where I'm on.
I ain't worried about a little old piece of barbed wire that we're going to probably break anyways. Where's the end of that thing? There it is. Sink it. Back up. on. All right. So you can manipulate these pipe a little bit by, you drive it a little bit and you adjust and you drive and you adjust. And we're setting this driver at a little bit of an angle because this thing can drive up to, it looks like about an 8 or 9 inch piece of pipe. And we're using this is 2 3/8. So what we're gonna, huh? Yeah, but it's not that little. So when we tilt it back, it drives it up into a spot where it kind of has to stay. Check her now. Okay. Don't stand right there. If something breaks, it don't hit you in the face. This fence looks pretty terrible right now because those steers have, like I said, they've been jerking on, pushing against it and everything. But, you know, that pipe is just as tight as it would be if it was concreted in. And every time it rains, this thing's going to get a little tighter. This piece was 10 foot long. It's sticking out of the ground a little over 5 foot. So it's in the ground 4.5 to 5 feet. So it's not ever going to go anywhere. I mean, it's not going to, they're not going to push it over. It's not going to fall out. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to go in and we're going to pull these steel posts out, because with these pipe drove in here, we don't even need these steel posts in here now. Bub, we'll just tie that wire to them to these pipes, and we can get rid of these old bent up steel posts. And then we're going to go down to the other end of the fence line here, and we're going to put some wire stretchers on this. And I'm thinking I may use the track loader to stretch it with, but I hadn't quite made my mind up yet. So, we got to drive one more steel post, don't we? So we'll go ahead and cut these out here in a minute when we get ready to start. Once we kind of get it, we'll get it lightly stretched, and then we'll come back and cut these out, get them out of the way so they're not holding on to it. So I want to talk to you just a second while Clance is pulling that steel post out about attachments. So I'm not exactly positive what this skid steer attachment costs. I think it's somewhere around the 8 or 10,000 mark. It may be a little more than that, but I'm not a professional fence builder, so I can't justify buying this piece of equipment right here to keep on my skid steer, because we're going to use it maybe a couple of times a year, and then the rest of the time it's going to be sitting under the barn or sitting out in the open rusting down. So for me, and what I think a lot of people need to look into doing, is you can rent these attachments, you know, and maybe it costs you $400 to rent it for a day, or maybe, you know, what I found is it's a lot cheaper to rent them, or you get a better value if you rent them by the week or by the month. So if you know you've got some fencing stuff going on and you're going to need to keep it for a month or so, rent it for a month. It may cost you, say it costs you $800, but you have that, it's not just sitting there wasting money the rest of the time. You don't have $10,000 or $8,000 tied up in a piece of equipment you're not using but once or twice a year. Or plan it out and say, hey, I can drive every post I need to drive in a day, and I'm going to rent it for $300 or $400, whatever it costs, you know. So renting attachments is a great viable option versus purchasing them. Like the shredder we've got, I didn't buy that. I've got it rented so that I can use it and then take it back, because most of the year it's just going to be sitting. So I want to show y'all. Look at this. Look at this old Fat Albert right here. He pushed through the fence. Jump on the buggy and run him off so he don't try to go back. He's going to get across there. Or get in front of him. You better go. So this steer right over here that Bub's running off, this whole fence line is down all the way over there to those tree line. And this steer right here pushed through the fence right here today while we were going to eat dinner. So so there's that. Yeah. All right, so steel post, we're going to use this post driver to put it in. It's not really necessary because we can just push it in. I mean, with a bucket you can push it in, but we're going to use this because we got it hooked up anyways. Now personally, most people I know do not, depending on the, I guess depends on the ground. When you try to drive steel post with one of these, there's a good chance you're going to bend it, the steel post. So a lot of guys make them a little sleeve out of a piece of pipe to put over it, but our ground's pretty soft. We've had a few good rains, so for the most part, the other one's just kind of pushed right in. Ready? Got your tape? Here you go. We're leaving ours about 55 inches from the ground to the, so we need to push it down about an inch. Now then, I'm going to get the track loader back across the fence. Another thing to keep in mind, be careful getting out of your track loader when it's dirty and dusty. Look at this sucker over here is just walking up and pushing on the fence, but we're about to get her tightened up. Did you already level this or plumb it and everything? So you probably saw Clance there using his level. Most of the time when you're driving steel posts, you get them right on your line. You get your line stretched down there on the ground, and you get it on the line, and then you go back and you straighten your posts up. You know, you don't spend time doing every one of them. You get them all drove and then you go back. Or that's at least the way we've always done it and seen people do it. So, well, y'all, we about finished up, and sorry I didn't grab the camera and do any more filming. We're not, Bub, those are in. Yeah, that's all right. That's right. Anyways, we're not professional fence builders, so I don't want anybody doing stuff the way we do it because it probably ain't right. We just get by. But I want to show y'all what we did and how much better it looks now. So here's our fence line. I mean, it ain't straight as an arrow, but it'll turn a sheep or a goat and a cow. Down here, I'll show you the issue we had, the problem we were facing as we come down this. Now, keep in mind that this fence has been down for a little bit because we've had so much rain. We just been so busy, and I should probably replace this wire in here because, let me show you. So if you look at this, these steers have pushed. I mean, it's just not, it don't look good. It's gonna turn them now, it's tight. And we went in and pulled the old steel posts out and put pipe in here and there. So it's gonna be a lot stouter than it was, but it don't look good. So I think what we'll probably end up doing is we'll come in here with some more of this continuous fence right here and put going down to that end, and we'll have to bowl around this tree a little bit and try to get that situated so that we don't have to worry about steers tearing stuff up. But I want to pose a question to you guys. So I tied these off a couple of different ways. I kind of did that because I want to test them and see which one's the best. This high tensile net wire is a pain in the butt to tie off, I promise you. It is no fun at all. So here's what I did. So don't judge my knots too bad. Some of them I did these knots like you see everybody on YouTube, where you make a Z and pull it through and twist it and break it off. But down here on the bottom where it's a pain to get them through there, I use these T-gripples. So you just hook them over the wire right there, and this wire runs through, and then I just bend the tail over so it'll help hold a little better. I put all of those in the amount of time it took me to do probably one of these. So, you know, this don't feel tight. I mean, they're not tight right there, but they can't, I guess the way that knot's tied or something, it don't slip. So that's the way everybody on the internet, the real fence builders do it, so that's the way we did it. Bub, you gonna load this fence stretcher up?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
So, as for me and Clance, we didn't have any steel post clips to clip our wire up with, so we just went in. These are what I call steel post clips right here. You know, those little kind of triangle shaped deals that you hook over the wire, goes around the back of the post, and you take a screwdriver and spin it around. So we just did the old poor boy method right here, where we just took some wire and tied it off. That'll be good enough to hold it up for the next day, for tonight. Tomorrow when we go to town, we'll stop and get some clips, and then we'll go back through and clip all this on. One thing I do notice that I see a lot of people talking about, this high tensile wire is designed to have a little bit of give in it, okay? So these little humps right here, these little guys right here in your wire, let's see if I can get a good one right here. So right here, if you can see in this net wire right here, it's got this little hump right here. We come down here and it's got another one down here a little bit lower. Let me get up over the top of it maybe. Those are designed so that can stretch a little bit. So you don't want to pull those completely out. You just want to get your fence tight. The other thing about high tensile net wire is it's really designed to have your steel posts further apart than what you do on like a barbed wire fence. So normally around here, everybody tries to put their posts about 10 foot apart. We did these 11 because it is kind of a high pressure area, and I wanted it to be able to stand up good. In my regular fences, if I was putting them up, I'd probably put my steel post every 12 or 15 foot. And the reason is if something hits this, you want it to give with them and then kind of shoot them back out instead of breaking, because it's pulled so tight it doesn't have room to give. So, all right, so from Cody and Clance at the bar 7, keep fencing, keep ranching, keep wrenching, and keep praying. And eating. Clance is getting hungry. He's always hungry. Anybody else got a teenage kid? I mean, he eats all the time. So, all right, we're going to put the steer up that got out, and then we're going to call it a day. So I'll get a little shot of that while Clance goes and gets around. If you'll go get around him, I'll open this gate for you. So if you've been around very long, you know we built this feedlot pen this summer. So the way it's built, this pen right here, there's their feed bump. They share a water trough right there, and then you got your other feed pen over there. The pen back here is not as deep, but it's wider than this one is. This one's deeper and shorter. So right here on the back side of this pen, the first pen, we have an alley where the cattle from in this pen can come out, and I can take them around and load them if I need to load them, or whatever needs to happen. So, all right, Clance, bring him on. So this steer jumped out of here earlier today because the fence was down. So we'll put him back in there. And I've got one more that's over here, but that puts us 10 steers in that pen, 9 steers in here. So I'm satisfied with that. Steers are looking good. All right, y'all. Have a good one and keep ranching.